Hello, everybody. I'm Andy Meehan, Republican congressional candidate in Pennsylvania's 1st District. And we're here today to talk about Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, his time in Ukraine in 2015, and the recent effort to impeach President Trump. Congressman Fitzpatrick was on WHYY radio program with Marty Moscowain recently to discuss the impeachment effort and his role in the FBI activities in Ukraine in 2015. The congressman made the following statement regarding impeachment: unless new evidence surfaces that meets this very high threshold, the congressman is opposed to impeachment. In the interview, the congressman details how he was sent as a political corruption specialist to Ukraine by the FBI to give them a hand and set up the National Anti-Corruption Bureau and share with them best practices, including undercover operations and wiretaps, under the direction of the Obama-Biden State Department and the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine. Congressman Fitzpatrick tells us that the Obama-Biden gang and that then Prosecutor General Victor Shokin was a problem because he was not cooperating with them and that the cases that they wanted addressed were not moving forward. So they targeted Shokin for removal, as evidenced by the now infamous Joe Biden, "You are not getting the $1 billion unless you fire the prosecutor" video. They actually did the thing that they accuse President Trump of doing, forcing a quid pro quo on the Ukrainian president. We now know that one of those cases that Shokin was actually working on was the investigation of corruption involving Burisma, the energy giant, and Hunter Biden. So it begs the question, was the FBI, under the direction of the State Department, involved with the firing of Shokin and the subsequent cover-up of corruption on the part of Biden and his son? Congressman Fitzpatrick is on public record stating that Joe Biden is a personal friend. In regard to the phone call with the Ukrainian president and the impeachment effort over it, the congressman goes on to say that we need to look into the allegations against the president. And he says 3 times in the interview, we need to get to the bottom of it. As the interview goes, Fitzpatrick says that he is all about nonpartisan fact-finding missions and that we need to remove politics from the equation and hand over the investigations to nonpartisan professionals to sort out. So he wants us to trust the nonpartisan professionals at the FBI and the CIA to sort it out. These are the same people who conjured up the phony Russia collusion charges and weaponized the agencies to exonerate Hillary Clinton and target President Trump. In his next breath, in the same interview, he states that he supported the Mueller investigation and that we should believe the Ukraine whistleblower. I can't help but wonder if this alleged whistleblower looks anything like Christine Blasey Ford and if Trump is the next Kavanaugh. Like he's done for the past year, the congressman completely neglects to acknowledge that Bob Mueller and his team of partisan political actors refused to get to the bottom of it by not investigating the Steele dossier and the genesis of the Russia collusion hoax. Mueller completely ignored the fact that the Obama-Biden-Hillary gang actually did collude with the Ukraine to target Paul Manafort and then candidate and subsequently President Trump. The Mueller investigation was the biggest political hit job scandal in our nation's history, and Congressman Fitzpatrick says nothing of it. Why didn't he want to get to the bottom of the Russia hoax, I wonder? He says we should get politics out of the equation and leave it up to the nonpartisan professionals in the FBI. So it makes me wonder, is Congressman Fitzpatrick, the FBI political corruption specialist, like Inspector Clouseau, a clueless, bumbling fool oblivious to what goes on around him, or is he like corrupt FBI agent Peter Strzok, one of those involved with using the law enforcement apparatus to cover up crimes committed by the Obama administration while setting up candidate and President Trump to be spied on and manufacturing fake offenses leading to impeachment or prosecution. Let's be very clear about this. Congressman Fitzpatrick is a political adversary of Donald Trump, not an ally. His actions in joining with Democrats in opposing the president over and over and over again on a myriad of issues clearly indicates where his political allegiance lies. There is a long and shameful list of examples in the Fitzwatt section of my website, meehan2020.com, and I encourage you to check them out for yourself. Congressman Fitzpatrick's weak and impotent statement in opposition to impeachment is consistent with his activities as an enabler of blatant corruption, who is absolutely silent on the politically motivated attacks by his FBI on our president. The congressman stated on the Dom Giordano show last week that he supports the president. Well, he sure has a funny way of showing it, doesn't he? His public record stands in stark contrast to this assertion. His FBI has been anything but apolitical, but the congressman says nothing about that. Congressman Fitzpatrick is obviously biased by his association with James Comey and Robert Mueller, and he is part of this effort to reverse the results of the 2016 election. And now Congressman Fitzpatrick sits as the co-chair of the Ukraine and Ukrainian American Caucus in the U.S. House. Well, isn't that interesting that the congressman, after his stint fixing corruption in Ukraine, was swept in days after his return to the States and placed in the U.S. House of Representatives with the support of the Fitzpatrick, Pat Poprick political machine in Bucks County. Very interesting how that happened, huh? As your next congressman, I will call out political corruption and fight back to defend our republic, our president, and the rule of law. Congressman Fitzpatrick is either blind to the corruption at the FBI or he is part of it. Which is it, Congressman? Are you Inspector Clouseau or are you Agent Peter Strzok? I'm Andy Meehan for Congress, Meehan2020.com, and I approve this message.